right. I get the pleasure of introducing this young man. He is a man who hails from Salt Lake City. He has been practicing his line of craft since 1995, officing in Orange, California, near the Honda Center. He loves all things outdoors. Loves to whitewater raft. So do I. Hunt. I do not. And he's even going to be going to Yosemite here pretty soon for his vacation. He is a happily married man with 3 kids and a very blessed man with 3 grandkids and 1 on the way. So that's pretty exciting. Would you please welcome Mr. Kim Hansen.
Thanks, Ron. I'm going to step over here. I've got a little visual here. So I won't be front and center. I'll be off to the side, kind of over here by Marissa. So let's see if I can put this under the light. Maybe. Anyway, it's kind of tricky setup here because reality is we're like shaped in a circle. We have tables here, tables down there, tables there and there. I think, where should I do this? Well, okay, I guess it'll be here. You guys on those rows have your back to me, unfortunately. My contact information, if you don't remember anything else, just remember my name, Google it, and you'll get Law Office of Kim W. Hansen. If you do www.kimhansen.com, it comes up, car dealership in Idaho. I think somebody of you have tried that, and I think I've got the brochure corrected that goes around here. Got that called in to put the W in here, so you get my law office. But anyway, what I thought to do today is just kind of give you a little background of the things, what kind of cases that typically come through my office. These aren't everything I do, but these are some of the more common things that I see, and it'll help you when you're talking with family or friends and something comes up. So, hey, oh, I know who does that. So I'm going to start out with traffic offenses. The more common ones that they deal with are DUIs. That's kind of the biggest one of everything. Probably half my caseload are those, because that's what the prosecutor, half their caseload is. They file those complaints. So the defense attorney, you respond to whatever they do. So that's the big one there. Kind of related, lesser than that, are suspended licenses, revoked licenses, license not in your possession, reckless driving, hit and run. Those are all traffic misdemeanors. You can go to jail for up to a year on those, as opposed to your typical speeding tickets where they're just fines. So that kind of takes care of that. Next big category is drugs. The typical things that I see a lot of are possession of marijuana, possession of controlled substance. You think of the controlled substance, people use it. Under the influence of the controlled substance, okay, and that's a kind of a serious one. Even though it's a misdemeanor, there is a mandatory minimum 90-day jail sentence on that one. So that's a big one for a misdemeanor. And then the paraphernalia, get a lot of those, the pipes and whatever paraphernalia people have. Next big category is property crimes. There's a lot in here. I don't put them all, but these are the big ones I see a lot. Petty theft, grand theft, shoplifting, a lot of those. Different types of fraud, insurance fraud, welfare fraud. Orange County did a little thing with the car repair industry here not too long ago, where they did a sting operation. A lot of repair shops, auto body shops got hit for that insurance fraud. Embezzlement, forgery, larceny, burglary, and vandalism. That sometimes comes up actually in the next category, which is well, not the next category, but later on, crimes against a person, domestic violence. The husband and wife get in a fight, and what do, they destroy some property. So the DA throws a vandalism charge on there besides the domestic violence charge, which carries a mandatory minimum 1-year license suspension. So, tip to you, if you get in a quarrel, don't mess up the property. You're going to lose your license for a year if you do. Another thing is kind of a general, it's not really a crime, but people refer to it as white-collar crime as opposed to whatever. But it's stuff, it's things like internet crime, identity theft, credit card fraud, those types of things. This next thing isn't really, these IRS tax problems, they can lead to criminal prosecutions. If you have tax problems and you get contact from SID, which isn't the name of the guy, it's just the Criminal Investigation Division, it's very intimidating. They pack in heat, they come with their badge and flash it, and people just get wobbly kneed, and because they're dealing with the feds there, and it can be very frightening. But most of mine, I try to nip it in the bud before there, you know. But so things like collections audits, non-filers, you know, people get their wage garnished, their bank accounts levied, or maybe they put a lien on their property. Those are some of the tax problems that can help people avoid. The next area is crimes against a person. We have the assault and battery, domestic violence, DV, assault with a deadly weapon. What can be an assault with a deadly weapon? Anybody? What?
Your fist.
Yeah, your fist. That's the common one. You know. Yeah, your feet. I've seen everything come under there. You know, obviously guns or knives. Cars are very common when people deliberately try to take somebody out. A weapon charge, sexual assault, threats, and trespass. This next category, they don't really fit in nicely to those other things. I just throw them under miscellaneous. Conspiracy, everything I've talked about so far, if 2 or more people do it, you're going to get a conspiracy charge on there, and the DA loves those because they're easy to prove up, and they're great to use as leverage to negotiate you know, turn one against the other. Juvenile, same thing. Everything I've talked about so far, juveniles can do it, but they're a total different court setting. It's closed to the public. It's just the judge, probation, the DA, and the parents and the juvenile, the attorney. Clearing your record, that's a big one, especially with the economy, people trying to get work. They've had a past criminal history, they want to get their record cleared up. We can help them do that. Depending on what it is, there's different procedure you use. Expungement is the common one, but there's also certificates of rehabilitation, and heaven forbid if you need to get a pardon from the governor, those aren't given out easily. And if they are given out, they're usually given at the end of the governor's term. But you know, out of county, out of state, out of country representation, I do a lot of that. Orange County is a destination county. People come here for entertainment. There's Disneyland, Knott's Berry Farm, there's the beaches, got the ducks and the angels here. And so I represent a lot of people that come here on business or something. They do some entertainment, or maybe they're on vacation. They get DUI, maybe their kid swipes something out of Disneyland, they got a shoplift charge there. You got a DUI charge, they live back in Indiana. Quite often I can help them without them having to come back here to California to take care of that. So keep that in mind for your out-of-state relatives when they're visiting. Hopefully they don't get in trouble. But, next thing, warrants. There are all kinds of warrants. You got arrest warrants, you got search warrants, you got bench warrants. Usually search warrants, the prosecutor thinks they got something on you, so they go to the judge and they write up an affidavit saying why they want to go search and what they're looking for. Okay, and if they that's what a search warrant is. That could lead to an arrest warrant where they come to the judge and say, okay, this is what we got on the guy. We want an arrest warrant, and so they go and they arrest the guy. Bench warrant is what the judge does from the bench. If you don't comply, if he told you to be there on a certain day in court and you aren't there, if you didn't pay a fine or whatever you're supposed to do, you don't do it, the judge from the bench will issue a warrant for your arrest. Last thing on this miscellaneous category, probation violations. Typically on a misdemeanor, you're going to get a 3-year probation period, and if during that 3 years, during that 3 years you do something and that violates that probation, you're going to be back in front of the judge that sentenced you. At that time, you can be sentenced up to the maximum under whatever you pled to or were found guilty of. Okay, so it's a pretty serious thing, and attorneys can help you out a lot on those. I'm going to try to wrap this up so I can take a few questions. Bail, a lot of people when they get arrested, first thing they do, call the bail bondsman. Well, that's a big mistake. You call an attorney, attorney can a lot of times get you out without you posting the bail, and that money you would have paid for the bondsman can be used for your attorney fees. And so even if he can't get you out on your own recognizance, almost any attorney can get your bail reduced, bail rate reduced briefed on that and can help you find a bondsman if you don't know one. Alternative sentencing, people want to know what, my life's crumbling apart because of this. My family, my wife's ready to leave me, my job's, I'm going to lose my job. What can we do to stay out of jail? Well, there's different programs depending on what the charges are. A lot of times we can negotiate with the prosecutor or the judge, sometimes depending on what court you're in and what judge you're in front of, to do what's called SEC or home confinement. That's becoming more popular as the jails get more crowded. Finally, any questions? I probably have time just for one question maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, Kim, we had a member of the group a while back, a bail bondsman, that's now nationwide with bail.com. And his claim, and this was a discussion recently, he said that with overcrowding and his business is way down. And with the lack of people getting put to jail or into that process, that crime is way up.
That's partly right. The jails are crowded, crime's not up. Statistically, crime is down, but you read in the newspaper all these horrendous things, and so you think crime is up. But statistically, the last stats that came out in the FBI, the crime here in Orange County is down. Irvine was, again, rated for the 8th year in a row as the safest city in America for violent crime, not property crime, but violent crime. I don't know. It does hit the bondsman, though, because they are overcrowded. A lot of officers on a DUI first time will just cite and release you like a traffic ticket. You sign a promise to appear in court, and so that does hurt them that way. I think my time's about out. Do you have a quick question? One more?
Dealing with all the time, this stuff all the time, like get you down.
Did you get me down?
I can't imagine ever like dealing with that on the 24-hour.
Talk to me after the end of the day, because I got a preliminary hearing on a burglary charge. So no, it doesn't generally. What got me down was when I did a little family law. When I first passed the bar, that got me down. That was not pleasant. Last question, and then I got to close. Okay, Bruce.
You showed identity theft. I'm using that as an example. Which side, let's say I was a victim of identity theft, would you be able to represent me in that, or is it the other side where I maybe committed identity theft, which I did not?
If you're... No, if you've been a victim of identity theft, go to the DA. They'll represent you. They got a program that'll help you. And if you're charged with that, they also have a program for first offenders that'll help out on that. So, but if you're charged with that as a crime, that's where I can come in. Thank you for your time. I'm going to hand out some brochures. Nobody took hardly any 2 weeks ago, so pass these around. Just take one. They don't do any good sitting in my office, so send some that way and some this way. Thank you very much.
Okay, great job. I want to thank everybody who participated in the program today, and like to remind us to Andy Huff and Kim Hansen in our tipping talk for the next week and beyond. And next week we're going to hear from John Wilson and Don Sharda. With that, I turn it back over to Sean.
Well, as part of our effort as a group to help other members, I want to suggest that we all start hanging out in biker bars and get in a lot of trouble. So that we can give Kim some work. Okay, well, that was an excellent program.